And as we see the candidates shake hands right there, Mike Pence and Tim Kaine, after 90 minutes of spirited debate. Shaking hands with the moderator as well, Elaine Quijano. Covered a lot of ground there. And Matthew Dowd, Mike Pence had a line at the end of the debate where he said that Donald Trump is not a polished politician. What you saw on that stage tonight was two polished politicians, two career politicians, Senator and Governor Tim Kaine, Governor and member of the House Mike Pence, who came in with quite different strategies.
Yeah, I mean, these were two experienced politicians who have been through debates before in their own races for governor, or Congress, or senator, so they're very good at this and knowing how to do this. It was very interesting to me what this was. I thought Tim Kaine, his style wasn't as good as Mike Pence's. I thought Mike Pence did better on style and calmness. But I think Tim Kaine came with a strategy, which was, I'm going to try to undercut Donald Trump every step I can on some fundamental issues, taxes or whatever, insults or whatever those were. Mike Pence actually deflected, but never really fundamentally defended Donald Trump. This looked like, to me, a debate where Tim Kaine was in this race today, making the argument about why Hillary Clinton, and it looked like Mike Pence was wanting to get out of this year's election to another election where he may be on the ballot.
You say that didn't seem to bother Donald Trump, David Muir. We had something we've never had before in this vice presidential debate. You had the two presidential candidates tweeting in real time all through the debate, Donald Trump being a cheerleader for Mike Pence.
Said a great opening statement right out of the gate, George, tweeting almost immediately. And there were tweets from Hillary Clinton throughout the debate, too. And it's interesting, you know, you were saying, Matt, that he often deflected, but he did defend Donald Trump on one key issue. And it's been the issue that's topped the news for the last week, the taxes, where he came out and he said that Donald Trump did use the tax code the way it was supposed to, and that he used the tax code brilliantly. It's the same word that we've heard from Donald Trump in the last 24 hours. And it sounds an awful lot like what you heard from the circuits about him being a genius on it.
He was forced into that cookie, Roberts, because Tim Kaine brought up the tax returns again and again and again.
And brought up over and over and over again the insulting words that Donald Trump has used about all kinds of people. And that was really his goal, was to remind everybody that Donald Trump's temperament is a problem.
And I want to play one of those exchanges because it was one of the ones where Mike Pence actually said it wasn't true. Let's watch one of the exchanges where Tim Kaine talks about Donald Trump's insults, and I want to bring Byron Pitts in.
Just trying to keep up with the insult-driven campaign on the other side of the table.
You know, I'm just saying facts about your running mate.
Yeah. Well,
and I know you can't defend
Senator,
him.
please,
I'm happy to defend him, Senator. Don't put words in my mouth that I'm not defending him.
You're not.
I'm happy to defend him. Most of what you said is completely false.
So, Byron Pitts, you were taking a look at these statements. Why don't we go through them?
Well, George, Donald Trump did say in 2015 that Mexicans bring in drugs, they bring in crime, they're rapists. He did say in 2006, in an interview with Fox News, he called Rosie O'Donnell a slob. Donald Trump did say in the first debate that African Americans are living in hell. So the facts are, we conclude that the comment by Governor Pence was false.
Okay, let's bring it down to John Carl, who was in the hall. Did it feel like there was a winner in that hall, John?
Well, it felt like Tim Kaine came in here as if he was the candidate that was on the campaign that was behind, and he was overeager to try to score points. Kaine came in hot. He was interrupting constantly. So I think that those are maybe even more than points on style, severely hurt Tim Kaine. Mike Pence, on the other hand, was that relatively calm presence. It was almost as if Kaine and Pence switched roles from what we saw with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, where Donald Trump was constantly interrupting during his debate. In this case, it was Hillary Clinton's running mate that was constantly interrupting. But fact checkers will have a field day with Mike Pence. The other big one, George, was the question of whether or not Pence said that Vladimir Putin is a stronger leader than Barack Obama. You saw Pence deny saying that. Pence said that. He said it just last month on September 8th in an interview with CNN.
Yeah, we will see how this plays in the days that follow as we go through all of the fact checking. I want to go to our reporters who cover the campaigns right now. Cecilia Vega, let me start with you. What are you hearing from the Clinton camp coming out of this debate?
George, it's interesting. In the first 30 minutes of that first debate between Clinton and Trump, the Clinton camp was declaring victory. No outright declarations just yet, but they are very happy with Kaine's performance. One aide just telling me right now that Pence ran away from Trump and was dishonest about the real record. He is, however, taking some heat from even Democrats and allies over these interruptions, but the Kaine aides are telling me that's the VP's job, that's the running mate's job, and he did what he set out to do tonight.
Yeah, it seems, let me bring that back to you, Matthew Dad. It seems like in some ways Tim Kaine was willing to sacrifice himself to do the job for the ticket?
Well, I think Tim Kaine has looked at the polls and has looked what's happened in the last week and understands that this race is fundamentally about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and he's going to be willing to do whatever it takes to make sure he helps bring her over the finish line. He sacrificed a bit, as you're right, on style on that. I thought substantively Tim Kaine's argument and discipline in this was much better than Mike Pence. Mike Pence style won on style, but Tim Kaine's substantive arguments, of course, all along the way, making it and prosecuting a case against Donald Trump, which Mike Pence did not want to respond to.
Right, and I want to bring that to Tom Yamas, then come back to you, Koki, because Tom, he did have that point. Tim Kaine finally had the point. It was almost with only about 20 minutes left in the debate where he said 6 times, I've brought up these comments and asked you to defend the comments of Donald Trump, and 6 times you haven't done it. What is the Trump camp saying about that?
Well, Donald Trump, in his typical fashion, saying Mike Pence won big and that they all support Mike Pence. Also, Trump's campaign manager very happy with the governor's performance. It is true what you said. He was on the defensive all night. But when you talk about style and tone, Governor Mike Pence did not let Tim Kaine get under his skin, something that didn't happen to Donald Trump. When Hillary Clinton was attacking Donald Trump, it clearly got to him. But Governor Mike Pence kept his cool throughout this debate. And he did have one key moment there is when he pointed out the difference in Kaine's position on abortion and how that has morphed over his years in public service. I will say one thing. Governor Chris Christie is now advising Donald Trump for his next debate. Trump may want to ask his running mate, Governor Mike Pence, for some style points as well. George?
We'll see if that works. You know, Koki, on that issue of abortion, it did reveal something that had been going on throughout the night. Tim Kaine and Mike Pence speaking to very different audiences.
Yes, Tim Kaine was talking to his base and talking to the people in the Republican Party that he needs to get out there and stay enthusiastic. And of course,
Mike Pence.
I'm sorry, Mike Pence. And then the abortion question being the most obvious of those. But Tim Kaine was looking at that group of college-educated white women. That's who's going to determine this election. And over and over and over, citing Trump's statements, and then at the end, doing that defense of Roe versus Wade is really where he was going there. And I think that his entire performance was aimed at that voter group.
And in fact, if he was trying to poke and needle Mike Pence at the risk of not looking likable himself, he ultimately got there in the end. I would argue when they were talking about abortion and the comments that Mr. Trump at one point had said women should be punished if abortion becomes illegal. And that's when you heard Mike Pence say, well, listen, he's not a polished politician. And that is really blowing up on social media.
A real big concession right there.